Welcome to another edition of Breaking News brought to you by Source Selection Soundbites. Today we will discuss the case of Telecommunication Systems Inc. or TCS decided at the GAO. In this acquisition, the Defense Systems Information Agency, or DISA, requirements for satellite communications. DISA originally made the award to TCS until it was protested due to an OCI that arose because TCS hired the former DISA program manager. DISA investigated the matter and ultimately concluded that hiring the former government employee created the appearance of an impropriety which could not be avoided, neutralized, or mitigated. Given the agency's conclusion, the agency terminated the former contract and excluded them from the competition. Upon learning of the agency's decision, TCS protested the agency's actions. According to the protester, the PM's participation in this procurement was very limited and did not warrant the disqualification. The record shows that the PM continued in his position until he decided to retire from government service in June 2009. On November 2, 2009, the PM signed a memorandum addressed to his supervisor, which stated that the PM was seeking employment outside of the government and that he would disqualify himself from any involvement in matters, including this RFP, that would have a direct and predictable effect on any potential private sector firm with whom he was seeking employment. TCS asserts that before the recusal, the PM's function was limited to summary information and early market research. However, the contracting officer determined that the documentary evidence indicated that the PM's participation in the procurement was more involved than being limited to summary information only and early market research exploring industry capabilities, and that the PM did in fact have access to and receive acquisition-sensitive information, such as RFI responses that were marked proprietary. Even though there was no direct proof that the PM reviewed the documents, the CO determined it was reasonable to conclude the PM had access to the information since it was provided to his subordinates and was used in one-on-one meetings with industry. Additionally, the CO determined that the PM participated in at least 2 meetings that addressed acquisition strategy issues. En route to finding against the protester, GAO noted that the contracting officer conducted a thorough and well-documented investigation. In addition, they conclude that the contracting officer reasonably determined that the manner and extent of the PM's involvement in the procurement may have created an actual unfair competitive advantage, but certainly created an appearance of impropriety that is based on significant documentary evidence and cannot be avoided, neutralized, or mitigated. In this regard, the contracting officer determined that the facts here indicated that PM not only had access to non-public information, but also provided input related to TCS's revised proposal. These facts, as identified by the contracting officer, create the presumption that an unfair competitive advantage has arisen, without the need to inquire as to whether the information was actually used by TCS in the preparation of its proposal. Given these facts, the protest was denied. Now let's address a few of the lessons learned from this protest. They include: 1. A contractor that hired a former government employee may be disqualified from the competition for an appearance of impropriety. 2. The appearance of impropriety must be established by hard facts, but the appearance of impropriety cannot be assumed. 3. Once hard facts are established, it creates the presumption that an unfair competitive advantage has arisen. The establishment of actual harm caused by the use of the information is not required. In this episode of Source Selection Soundbites, we discussed the TCS case, hiring former government employees, and the principles of evaluating and determining if an unfair competitive advantage exists. This concludes today's Source Selection Soundbite. If this video was helpful, hit the like and subscribe button to ensure you don't miss any new material. If you want more details on the subject, they are available on the Source Selection Answer app. It contains lectures, quizzes, court cases, sample documents, and more material that allows practitioners to quickly obtain actionable knowledge. Thanks for watching. See you next time.